All right, welcome everyone. Look, if you're here, you already know the basics of Python strings. You're not here for another Hello World tutorial. Today, we're going to level up. We're going to take what you know and turn you into someone who wields strings like a pro to solve some really interesting problems. So let's just dive right in. Here's the game plan for today. We'll kick things off with why strings are so important. Then, a real quick-fire review of the basics, just to make sure we're on the same page. After that, we hit the really cool stuff: slicing, methods, and parsing. And we'll wrap up with a huge concept that trips up so many people: immutability. So first up, let's talk about the big picture. Why are we dedicating a whole session to just strings? Well, because they are so much more than just text. This quote absolutely nails it. I mean, think about it. What is a web page? It's just a giant string of HTML, a CSV data file, a string with a bunch of commas. The very Python code you write is first read as a string. So mastering strings, well, that's your ticket to doing almost anything cool, from data science to web scraping.
Okay, time for our rapid-fire review. We're going to blow through this just to make sure our foundation is solid before we start building the really advanced stuff on top of it.
You've got your three types of quotes. Single quotes are pretty much the standard. Double quotes are your best friend when you have an apostrophe inside your string, right? Like it's. And triple quotes, those are your go-to for when you have a big block of text that goes on for multiple lines. Simple.
And of course, these two operators. The plus sign just smushes strings together, and the star operator repeats them. Foundational stuff, but you'd be surprised how often it comes in handy.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. This is our first real power-up. Slicing is where you stop just reading strings and start performing surgery on them, pulling out exactly the pieces you need with incredible precision. This is a total game changer.
So the first thing to get is that Python sees a string as a sequence. You can grab any character using its index number, and remember, we always start counting from 0. But here's the really cool Python-specific trick: negative indexes. S-1 will always give you the last character, and S-2 the second to last. No more calculating the length of the string, it's so convenient.
Now we expand that idea with the colon for slicing. The syntax is start, colon, end. The one thing you have to burn into your brain is that the end position is not included. So S0 to 2 gives you characters 0 and 1, but stops before 2. And check out how flexible this is. Leave out the start, it assumes the beginning. Leave out the end, it goes all the way to the finish. All right, pop quiz. Using just what we know about slicing, is there a single, elegant line of code that could completely reverse a string? No loops, no functions, just a slice. Think about it. And there it is. The secret is a third part of the slice called the step. By making the step -1, you're telling Python, go through the string, but go backwards. It is such a clean, clever, and, well, Pythonic way to solve the problem. This little trick is one of those things that instantly makes you look like you know what you're doing.
Slicing is fantastic, but Python also gives you this huge built-in toolbox of string methods. I find it helpful to think of them in two main categories. You have methods that ask a question about a string, and you have methods that give you back a new, transformed string.
So, take a look here. A querying method like .isLower just gives you back a true or false. It's answering a yes or no question. But a transforming method like .lower or .replace, it actually hands you a brand new string. This difference is subtle, but it's going to be absolutely critical in a few minutes. Here's a pro tip for you. You know the .strip method? It gets rid of white space at the start and end of a string. But when you just print the result, it can be hard to tell if it actually worked. The secret weapon is the repr function. It shows you the official representation of the string, quotes and all. That way, you can see with your own eyes that the white space is gone. Super useful for debugging. Now, let's peek under the hood for a second. To a computer, every character is really just a number. The ORD function will show you that number, the ASCII or Unicode value. And CHR does the opposite, turning a number back into a character. This is the gateway to understanding things like character encodings and how your computer really handles text from all around the world.
Okay, so we've loaded up our toolbox. Now, let's put these tools to work on probably the most common string task there is: parsing. That just means pulling useful data out of a raw string. When you need to loop through a string, you basically have two options. The one on the left, looping by index, is great when you actually need to know the position of each character. But look at the one on the right.
Looping directly over the characters is so much cleaner and easier to read. It's considered more Pythonic. My rule of thumb, unless you absolutely need that index number, go for the direct loop every time. And speaking of essential tools, meet your new best friend, the dot split method. You will use this constantly. You have a string of data separated by commas or tabs or any character. Dot split effortlessly chops it up into a list of items for you. It's the absolute bedrock of parsing data from files. Now on the flip side, when you need to build a string from variables, there's only one way to do it in modern Python: f-strings. See that little f before the quote? It lets you embed your variables directly inside the string with these curly braces. It's fast, it's clean, and it's so much more readable than the old ways. Seriously, using f-strings is a clear sign that you know your stuff. All right, we've saved probably the most important theoretical concept for last. This is the big one. It's a gotcha that trips up pretty much every new Python programmer, but once you understand it, a whole lot of things are going to click into place. Check out this code. Looks perfectly logical, right? We have a string ABC, and we want to change that last character, the C, into a Z. But if you try to run this, it crashes. Python throws a type error. So what gives? Why on earth does such a simple-looking operation just completely fail? What's the hidden rule we're breaking? The answer is one powerful word: immutability. It's a fancy way of saying that once a string is created, it can never, ever be changed. It's set in stone. Remember all those methods like .lower and .replace? They didn't actually change the original string, did they? They gave you back a brand new one. That's immutability in action. So how do you change a string if you can't change it? You don't. You build a new one. Look at the code on the right. We take a slice of the parts we want to keep, the A, B, and we add on our new character, Z. We're not modifying ABC. We're creating a totally separate new string, ABZ, and then just pointing our S variable to that new one. Getting your head around this idea doesn't just stop errors. It makes your code safer and more predictable. And that, right there, is the mark of a master.